Hi, friends, and welcome back to Glow in the Chaos. I'm so glad you're here with me today. Living with chronic illness can feel like a constant uphill climb, and sometimes the weight of it all makes us forget how important the little victories really are. Today, I want to celebrate those tiny wins, the things that might seem small to the outside world, but to us, they're huge because in the middle of chaos, it's those tiny wins that add up to something beautiful. Why tiny wins matter. When you live with chronic illness, milestones look different. For some people, a win might be running a marathon or checking off a huge to-do list. For us, it might be making it out of bed, taking a shower, or even remembering to eat something nourishing. And that's okay. Those moments matter. They are proof of resilience, of showing up for yourself even when it's hard. I want to remind you that your progress does not have to look like anyone else's. You are allowed to celebrate things others may never understand. Let me share a few examples. A tiny win could be saying no to something when your body needed rest, going outside, feeling the sun on your face, using your planner or tools to make a doctor's visit less stressful, or even listening to this podcast episode today, which means that you carved out a moment of connection for yourself. Recently, I have been truly focusing on these tiny win moments. Last weekend, I actually carved out time to play a card game with my family. It may have been while we were all sitting in my bed, but it was still so fun and it's truly a memory I will cherish. Yesterday, I got out of bed just a little bit early. I usually wake up pretty early, but I'll lay there and scroll on social media for an hour or so before I get up and around. That truly has not been helping my mental health. So instead, I got up, I turned on a scripture related podcast because finding my faith again and just connecting with God has truly been uplifting to me lately. That's not something that I am going to dive into too much on this podcast just because I want to make sure that I am speaking to everyone, no matter what you believe. You are welcome here. So that's not something that I want to dive too deep into, but it is something that goes along with my tiny win. So I turned on my podcast that was very, very uplifting. Then I did a load of dishes and swept my kitchen floor. I did all of this before heading to work with my husband at the restaurant that we own. This is huge for me because cleaning is probably one of the hardest battles for me. Between fatigue and then the ADHD paralysis I get every time I seem to try to truly deep clean, the battle is real. It didn't look like much from the outside, but it meant everything to me because it reminded me I am still capable of moving forward. Here's the truth. Tiny wins aren't really tiny. They are survival. They're healing. They're courage in disguise. So instead of beating ourselves up for what we can't do, we need to shift the focus to what we did do. And the more we acknowledge those wins, the more we will build momentum, confidence, and hope. So today, friends, I want to challenge you. If all you did was get dressed or drink water or breathe through a tough moment, celebrate it. Write it down, give yourself credit because it 100% matters. So, my challenge for you going into this next week, since it is Friday, is to notice one tiny win every day. Write it in a notebook, notes on your phone, or even just say it out loud. At the end of the week, I want you to look back and see how far you've come. I promise you, it will shift the way you see yourself and your strength. If you go onto my TikTok, I have a lot of links for different journals. I promise I'm not just trying to sell you something, but there is a really good gratitude journal that I have purchased for myself in my TikTok links. I will try to find it and link it in this podcast if I can. I'm still new at doing these podcasts, so linking things to it is a little difficult, but I'll try to link it below. It has stickers. It makes it fun. It makes it fun to write down what you're thankful for. So this gratitude journal is perfect, I believe, for this challenge that we all should accept. Thank you so much for joining me today on Glow in the Chaos. If this episode encouraged you, please share it with a friend who might need a reminder to celebrate their own wins. And if you would like to support the show, I've linked a donation page in the description. Every little bit helps me bring in special guests and create more resources for our community. Until next time, remember your tiny wins are not small, they're powerful. And in the middle of chaos, there is always room to grow. So keep glowing in the chaos, friends, and I will see you next time.